Guys, Riders to Racers Hohmann Ranch coming up this weekend, October 26th and 27th. It is a Saturday and Sunday event. $30 a rider, $20 for small bikes, meaning, small wheel bikes, 50s, 60s, 85s, but $30 a day per day, and then $20 for camping, and you're welcome to come Friday night to set up your camp spot. Just no riding on Friday. It's $20 for the whole weekend. Property Hohmann Ranch. It's a Llano address, but it's right between Llano and Fredericksburg off Highway 16, right next to Enchanted Rock. It is about 16 miles from downtown Fredericksburg. And there is the Fredericksburg Food and Wine Festival going on this weekend. Two things with that: ride your dirt bike, go get some food and wine. But the other thing is if you're looking for a hotel for this weekend, I would book it in Llano. I talked to the Best Western just a couple days ago, and they still had hotel rooms available for this weekend. But the rates are going to be so much better because of the festival going on in Fredericksburg. Weather's going to be perfect. It's going to be about 90 degrees, clear, sunny. Maybe a little hot, but it's going to cool down at night to about 65 degrees. But with that being said, drink water, take breaks as needed, replenish your electrolytes. So Element has so kindly sponsored Riders to Racers now for multiple events. And we have Element available for you to come grab at the sign-up table with me. So come grab a flavor of your choice. The watermelon one is my favorite. Raspberry's good. Lime's really good too. So I have a whole bunch of flavors. Y'all come replenish and make sure you stay hydrated this weekend. This property is very rocky and pokey. It's Texas Hill Country. So be sure to set up your bikes appropriately. I would recommend riding some Lake Mooses or tubeless because it is very pokey out there and very rocky. So just be careful. Also, maybe like a rotor guard or skid plate. Just make sure your bike is set up appropriately for this rocky terrain. There are livestock and wildlife on this property. Two things with that as well. There are 2 high fence gates that you will enter or go through to enter the property. Those gates have to remain shut all weekend because of the livestock and wildlife. Those will be manned. If they're not manned, just they're unlocked. Open them up, drive through, shut them back behind you. When you enter the second gate, then I'll be there with a tent and a table. Stop, sign up, sign your waiver. Everyone has to sign a waiver. Everyone, spectators, riders, children, everybody's got to sign in. But back to the livestock and wildlife thing. There will be livestock and wildlife all throughout this property. So if you encounter anything on the trail, please yield to that animal. This is just a ride day. Go slow, be aware of your surroundings, and use caution all the time with the livestock and wildlife. This is also a very arid part of Texas. With that being said, there are a higher prevalence of pit vipers and scorpions, so please use caution throughout this whole area, because I would really hate for somebody to get bit by a snake, like turning over a rock or just adventuring around. So just please use your best judgment. There's also a ton of sticker burrs or sand burrs or whatever you want to call them, and cactus, of course. So I would recommend closed-toed shoes this weekend, blue jeans preferably, and if you don't get too hot, just something with long sleeves. That way you just be careful, okay? Full gear is required for riding at all times. This means helmet, boots, goggles, full face helmet, always wearing knee, elbow pads, chest protector, back protector, goggles, gloves. That's always a good idea. You can be fully equipped and accidents still occur. But as far as like safety and your responsibility as a rider, you do have to have full gear required for riding out there. As far as like emergency medical services, there will not be emergency personnel or medical personnel on site, but I do have all their contact information local to Llano and Fredericksburg in the county. And if anything is needed, we'll have first aid kits, and I'm first aid CPR, first aid certified and CPR certified. So I can stop the bleeding if we came down to it, but we do have emergency protocols in place for, the unexpected things that may occur. Hazards, of course, rocks. Prevalence is going to be high. Roots, ruts, uneven surfaces. They're surfaces with limited traction, so we are going to be riding over some granite formations. Surprisingly does have traction, but it is a slick surface. It's not a dirt surface, so there could potentially be loose or limited traction. Limbs, debris, logs, animals, and other riders. So making sure you just be aware of everything that's going on at all the time. That is part of your rider's responsibility as well. Things will be labeled the best that they can be, but that's the nature of riding dirt bikes, right? Another thing I want to address is, because we are coming out of summer, is the wildlife prevention measures that we're going to be having this weekend. So the prevalence for wildfire is really high in that area. There is sections of tall grass. Most of the trails beat down already, but there is tall grass in subsections as well. So especially if you have a 4-stroke, please do not just stop in the tall grass. Particularly 4-strokes, they need to have heat shields for riding around in this area. So if you have a heat shield, that would be the best mitigating strategy for preventing wildfires. Of course, no campfires in the campground whatsoever. And then if you have a fire extinguisher, it's best recommended that you bring it with you, just so if there's something small, we can get ahead of it. Your responsibility as a participant: know your limits, understand what your limits are, read the signs appropriately, and use your best judgment as a rider to determine what trails to go on. Make sure that your bike is in good condition, not just set up for this rocky and arid and pokey terrain, but also just making sure all your bolts and everything are tied down tightly or screwed down tightly. Everything is in working order. Your suspension is set up appropriately. Your air filters are clean. Pre-ride inspection should be done every time regardless. But also just making sure that everything is done before riding out in this rocky area. Wear appropriate safety gear. Follow event rules and signage. Everything is one directional. The pink ribbon will always be on your right hand side or on your throttle side. And then, of course, being aware of hazards, no shortcuts or off-road or like off the trail adventures. Stay on the marked trail, because I don't know what all is out there, but the trail is cleared. Okay. Respect the signs, maintain your awareness and surroundings, monitor your physical condition, stay hydrated, take breaks, follow emergency procedures if necessary. I mentioned about signing the waiver, so everyone has to sign a waiver, no matter what. If you're a visitor or if you're a participant or if you're a minor, you have to sign the waiver. Speaking of minors, if you are a minor and you come out by yourself, that is a no-no. You do have to have a parent sign off on a minor release that you're out there participating and riding with us, and that's just a legality standpoint. Trail descriptions. Everyone's been asking me kind of what to expect with these trails. I am adopting a green, blue, black trail marking system. Green being easy or beginner, blue being intermediate, which most average, like if you race the Torque series or the T6 series, you should be able to do the blue trail. And then black is going to be your expert only trail. And no green and black trails touch each other, so it should be very intentional to get on a black trail. There is signage everywhere, so just be sure to read your signs. Go slow on your first lap and make sure you know where all the forks are. You know, it says green trail this way, blue trail this way, and then when you're on the blue trail, it'll say, hey, you can split off and do this black section. There are progressively more challenging obstacles as you go, you know, from green to blue to black. On the black trail, everyone's been asking me about the hill. It is 136-foot elevation. Now that's not the distance, that's just the elevation change. So the slope of the hill it's pretty steep grade, and then there's rocks, of course, without. So as you're going up, then you'll hit a rock and you throw your momentum off, and that's what makes it hard, right? So when you're at the bottom of the hill and you look up, you can't quite see the top. With that being said, if you're stuck at the bottom and you're like, I don't want to do this, then I have a bailout loop, and you're welcome to go back around and meet up with the blue trail and continue on and avoid that hill climb altogether. Most of it is just rock garden type terrain that's just a little bit more challenging for those riders. And then again, pink ribbon is always on the right, which means all the trail is one directional. If you notice that ribbon is on your left, I would stop what you're doing, either wait for another rider to come by to just verify which way you're supposed to go, but don't ride backwards on the trail if you can't help it. Just use your best judgment, look around, try to wait for another rider, and then determine which way to go. And then if you see no pink ribbon at all, then you've got off somewhere that you made a wrong turn. So I would just immediately, once you realize that there is no pink ribbon around, turn around, go back the direction in which you came, try to locate the next pink ribbon, and either wait for another rider to come by to determine which direction you're supposed to go, and just use your best judgment. I'd recommend riding with a phone on you. You can put it in your camelback or something if you need anything. My number is on the flyer, so feel free to reach out anytime. Service can be a little spotty in that area. I have AT&T, so it could be a little spotty unless you have a different carrier. I'm not quite sure, but it's better to have it and not need it, right, than to need it and not have it. So another thing is like riding on roads in the campground. Obviously, general rule of thumb with any event that you go to, pit riding is usually frowned upon. I want to make sure everyone has a safe spot to ride. So kids can ride on that little kids loop next to the campground, or you have the whole trail system. And so no riding around the pit section. And then there's like some road like where the trail ends, and then you come back to camp. That is a tank dam road, so like no heavy accelerations, no wheelies. Please be respectful to these guys' property. They're letting us come out and ride, so let's try to be respectful and be safe on the roads and everything. Again, kind of going off of that, there are consequences for no compliance. Riders who ignore the trail signs, or who engage in reckless and dangerous behavior, or if you just pose a safety threat to any other rider on the property, you will be asked to leave. And just don't let it come to that. That being said, so I do have a full risk assessment and safety protocol, emergency protocol on thriderstoracers.com/Hohmann, Hohmann. And everyone will need to, on the waiver, you will check off saying that you've acknowledged reading and understanding that risk assessment. It's just a thorough way for me to explain anything that can happen is going to be listed out as a risk. And then the liability waiver will help cover like your acknowledgement of that, okay? I don't really have anything else to put in this video. I know it's really long-winded, but I just wanted to be thorough and answer any questions that people may have had. Again, my number's on the flyer. Feel free to text me anytime. I am getting a lot of messages and people hitting me up saying that they want to come out and questions. So one, that's the purpose of this video, and two, I will gladly answer any other questions that you may have. Just hit me up, let me know, and we'll see you out there.